Hello everyone, this is N-GameArts. This is part 2 in my PlayStation 4 collection of 700 plus games. Now we're just going to continue off with these videos of more games to cover. If you haven't seen the first part, go and check that out. I do cover a little bit more of the subjects of all my game collecting and why I have so many PS4 games. But overall, let's just continue on so that this video is not too long and I got more games to cover out of the stack. Starting off, we have The Last Spell. This is a recently new pickup. It's a kind of like a tower defense tactical game. It immediately got my attention. That's right up my alley of tower defense and then tactical based, turn-based style games. So they right up my alley. I haven't played it. I know it's a little bit more updated and stuff like that. I messed around with a little bit of it, and it's very fascinating to me. Most definitely, it was going to be probably one of my first games I'm going to be covering back on my channel when I get around playing more games. Moving on, we have The Walking Dead, the Telltale's Definitive Edition. I do believe this comes with every single episode on disc. I played a little bit of it. I haven't finished it. I have actually never played. I've only played like one episode, and I'm not even talking about like one whole set episode. We're talking about like one segment of the first Walking Dead part. Don't really know. I know it's one of those earlier days when we're getting a lot more just simpler kind of episodic games where it's more of just a point and click kind of style. Nothing's wrong with that. Not to say that's anything bad about this. It's just a story driven game. There's nothing wrong with that, and it's all about the decisions and choices you make throughout the game. Nobody Saves the World, a new pickup recently from Limit Run Games. I don't know much about it. What bought it was because the graphics and just the name of the game. I don't know. I get it. It's just these game companies, these indie developers know what to say and what to name something to get me intrigued to be like, okay, I want to be a nobody and I want to save the world. So I don't know much about it. It looks fascinating. I want to check it out when I get more time, get some free time. Next one, I mess around with a little bit of this, is Void Bastards. I don't know, it looks really interesting. Sadly, this does not come with the DLC on the disc, but that might actually be a blessing, because I've actually heard that the DLC is actually, not necessarily would I say the word bad, but intrusive, where it kind of interrupts the flow of the game, the base game. And there's no way to disable it. I remember reading some people complaining about that if they could disable it. So maybe a blessing that it's not actually on the disc. Not entirely sure. I'm just going by what I've read and seen other people talk about. Next one is Watch Dogs, the Complete Edition. This is the most updated physical version of Watch Dogs, the first game. This does come with all the DLC and expansions on disc. It's a must pick up if you're interested in it. I've played a little bit of it. I kind of like it. I remember, I'm not into it because it's huge open world, but I did like some of the things they had going on with it. Seemed intriguing. But pick that up, and again, it's only available to get the complete edition is in Power Region. Next up, we have Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. Have yet to play it. I don't know nothing about it. I've played the first game. I have yet to touch the second game, so know nothing about it. I've heard some people that it actually is not as good as the first game, so, or even the first game's like expansion and stuff like that. I don't know. Know nothing about it. I just haven't gotten around to playing it. Moving on, a game that has my attention is Wizard of Legend. It's kind of like a top-down sprite graphic spellcasting game, as you can probably imagine with wizards. I don't know. It looked backwards. It looked kind of interesting. It's another little run game. Again, these little indie games, sprite graphics, just grab my attention so much. They just look so cool and fascinating. I wish I'd known more about it, but I haven't gotten around a chance to play it. Moving on, Uncharted 4, The Thief's End. I am not a fan of Uncharted games. I'm actually not a fan of Naughty Dog either. I have not liked the Naughty Dog game ultimately since Jak and Daxter 1, so I only have this. I don't even think I bought this. I think this was a used copy. I can't even think of the last time I bought a new copy from Naughty Dog. I can't think of it. Brand new, I don't know. Naughty Dog, I know people are going to get really upset. Naughty Dog has disappointed me for quite some time now. Moving on, we have Wasteland 3. I've been intrigued because it's like a turn-based kind of style game. I have the second one, which is right here. We can just bring it in here. Wasteland 2, and the director cut. I know it's got some like expansions and stuff like that on disc. The only problem with Wasteland 2 is that again, it's a very lazy port to console, and the text in this game is extremely small. I've yet to mess around with the third one. I'm hoping they fix that issue and you can actually adjust the text size, because that's the only thing that's holding back Wasteland 2 for me. Is that I remember trying to play it and I'm like squinting at the screen because the text is so small. Moving on, we have Warhammer Vermintide 2. This is one of those games I messed up on. Now, this game, I haven't checked it in a while, but when I first covered the game, I actually didn't realize that when you play with a registered account, even offline, it can affect games. I believe this game is unplayable with an unregistered account offline. I have yet to confirm it, but I have some people complaining to me that I'm wrong in my video, and I misled people, and I'm really sorry. I did not know that playing with a registered account, playing offline, still meant that you were playing with a registered account. So now that's why I fixed it. I no longer play any of my games with a registered account. All of it's being played offline with an unregistered account. So I'm sorry if I misled some people with this one. I did not realize that is my fault. I played a little bit of it. It's like a Left 4 Dead style game. It's very intriguing, but again, I just hate the fact that it only supports one player. And if the game does require a registered account to play, then this game is a coaster to me. I do not care if the game can be played offline. It's just if you have a registered account, that means nothing to me. I should never once ever need internet to play a game at any moment. Mechanicus, Warhammer 40,000 Mechanicus. This game is good, but man, it is buggy to all hell. And it's got some other issues like random guessing moments in the game where they expect there's issues. Let's just say that. But I do like the idea of it. It is a very intriguing game. Haven't played too much. I actually had to stop playing it because I kept coming across I think the game crashed like several times on me. Moving on, we got Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap. I can't remember. Have I covered this? This is like one of my first limit run games, and when I was just started buying from them. Don't know much about it. I can't think if I ever covered this. I don't think I have. I love the graphics. I love the style and the presentation of the game. I definitely need to play this game. Kind of forgot I actually even have it. Another one, Yonder, the Cloudcatcher Chronicles. This is one of those PAL import games that I was just intrigued. It's like a cozy game where you just don't actually battle anything or do anything crazy. You just kind of do like animal carrying and crafting and stuff like that. So, I don't know. I don't know much about it. And sorry if you're here right now. There's an helicopter going over my house at this current moment. That's probably what you're hearing, that rumbling sound right now. So, quite convenient time on my my recording. But I don't know much about this. I just saw it. I do know there's an American version, and now there is a PS5 version available as well for Yonder, the Cloudcatcher Chronicles. Moving on, we got Valhalla. This is a kind of a cozy style game where you play as a bartender and you make drinks for people and stuff. I played a little bit of it. Very fascinating game. It's a very story-driven kind of style game, and I remember playing quite a bit of it, and I remember eventually getting down on how to make drinks and stuff like that. I don't know. Like I said, I like these weird games. I like these different games, and it's not simply combat and action-oriented. That's why I do play visual novels and stuff. Moving on, we have Undermine, another limited run game. This is like a roguelike classic Zelda style game, which are two things that you will immediately get my attention for. I have yet to play it. I've been wanting to. I don't know. That's all I know about it. It's a roguelike, and it's a mixture of classic Legend of Zelda with roguelike kind of ideas. So, I don't know. Want to check it out at some point. Next one, this is a Japan import. This is Ultimate Wonder Boy Collection. Sadly, this does not support English at all, but it does come with 13 games on one disc. I bought it because I wanted to see if maybe it did support English. Sadly, it doesn't. There is an English version from Strictly Limited. I have yet to pick it up. I might do it at some point, but I'm not going to go out of my way to spend buku bucks to get it on my shelf, but just letting you know, this only supports Japanese. I think these are the only two games I actually have on my shelf that only supports Japanese. There's the Sekiro Shadows Die Twice Game of the Year Edition, and then there's this one. I think these are the only two games I have that only has Japanese. or at least doesn't support any English. Moving on, we got Wonder Song. Again, another weird game that just got my attention. I just love these weird, colorful games. They're just right up my alley. Have yet to play it. I've been wanting to. Now, one of my big favorites, Terraria. I am a big fan of Terraria. I just greatly enjoyed it. This sleeve does not belong to this. This, when it first came out with a special collector's edition, and I bought that one. Then later on, we got this one, which is a more updated physical copy of Terraria. And now this one's outdated too. I've been hoping we'll get another physical copy for PlayStation 5 or something that will have the game be more updated on disc. But I love Terraria. Terraria is my most favorite style of this kind of game, where you basically craft and mine, and it's an open world style game. I like it more than Minecraft by a large amount. Moving on, we got River City Girls 0. I've yet to play it. I just picked it up because I have the other River City Girls, and I wanted to add more to my collection. And don't know much about it. I'm sure it's just a beat 'em up style game. That's all I can say. Now here's a game I really enjoyed. I've been wanting to go back to. Is Unravel, the Yarny bundle, which comes with 2 games on 1 disc. It comes with Unravel, and Unravel 2. Very good puzzle style games. Really recommend this. I think this is the only physical version style of both games on 1 disc. I think there is a US version, but I think it's like one's on disc and the other one's like on a redeem code or something like that. I can't quite remember. There's been multiple releases, I do know that. But overall, this is a must pick up. Definitely check this game out. The first one's single player, but you can play 2 players with the second game. But you can still play it 1 player. Both of them can be played 1 player. Really recommend it. Check it out if you can. Unpacking, which is a game, another one of those weird games. It's a limited run game where you're just doing a bunch of unpacking of items and sorting them on your shelf. It's a cozy style kind of game. You know me, I'm weird. I like those kinds of games. I like these simple games. It's not always about action or... Hell, it's not even... I don't even know if this really even has a story. If it does, it's very, just basic. I don't know. I really don't know. I've been wanting to check it out, but it's just one of those games you got to get that time for it to be able to immerse yourself. If you're trying to rush through it, then you're not getting the experience. You're meant to just sit back and enjoy the experience. And I just... right now, everything's been very hectic. I've been trying to squeeze in anytime and every time I can try to do recording, play video games, do my board gaming stuff, and just work and life. Oh, there's no moment for cozy time. Moving on, we got Warhammer 40k, Shoota's Blood and Tuff. I don't know much about it. I just know it's like a side-scroller shoot-'em-up style game. It has my attention. It looks very cool. It looks very cutesy. Not cutesy, but for a Warhammer style game, I don't know. It looked interesting and I had to pick it up, so been wanting to play it. Moving on, here's the thing I was talking about before, Wolfenstein New Order and Wolfenstein The Old Blood. Now I've played both of these, very good games. This collection comes with both games in one case, so it was a must pick up. Oh, goodness. This came right off. I guess that's not even holding it, really, huh? Well, that's not good. But regardless, very good games. I've been wanting to play them again. I remember putting up a vote and people voted for me to play it, but that's about when I was getting burnt out on games. I haven't gotten that same passion just yet to sit down and play games. That's why I'm actually doing this. Maybe this will inspire me to get back to playing video games. Weiss. I've never known how to pronounce this game. This is the 8th edition, Lukamura of Dinah. I've been wanting to pick up the PS5 version. I don't know. It's a pretty good action-oriented JRPG style game. I played a little bit of it. I haven't beaten it. I don't know. It was actually pretty good. I just haven't invested that much time into it just yet. Next one, we have Young Souls, which is another limited run kind of style game. It intrigued me. I like the art style. I like the 2D sprite graphics and stuff. Again, you tell me something's 2D, tell me something's indie, you tell me something's sprite graphics. You bastard, you already got me in. That's all it takes. I don't know. Have yet to play it. Looks really, really interesting. Sorry about that. Next up is Wipeout Omega Collection. A very good collection. Good expansions on this stuff on disc. If you're a PS4 collector or a PS4 fan, you should already have this in your collection. It's a phenomenal game. I don't actually... I've never actually played the campaign on this game. That might surprise some people. The only mode I like to play on this is the endless mode, where you got to keep going around this track, but it keeps getting faster and faster and faster. That's the only thing I play on this, and I still enjoy that the most. I occasionally I'll be thinking, you know what? I want to play that. I'll install this, what is it, like 24 gigabyte update game, and just do that for a couple races, and I got my fill. The Wild at Heart, this game, I like the graphics and the aesthetic of the game. I actually know nothing about it. I just saw the name and I saw the aesthetic, the artwork and everything like that, and I enjoyed it. And it's another kind of indie style game, so right up my alley. Been wanting to play it. I've been looking at it occasionally. Might do that eventually. Next up, this one was told to pick up when I could. Wild Guns Reloaded. It's a remake of a classic game. I think it was an SNES game, but there was a special version that came with this like keychain and thing. People told me I need to pick that up because it might become quite rare. So there it goes. I picked it up. I played a little bit of it. Not the greatest. I'm not the biggest Wild West themed stuff, so it's not gonna be right up my alley. But I don't know. Glad I have it. Moving on. We got Super Bomberman 2 or Super Bomberman R2. I have yet to play it. I've always been a Bomberman fan, so tell me something Bomberman and I might pick it up. I don't know. I haven't played it, but I definitely will at some point. Moving on. Oh boy, this is a good one. This is one of my top 10 most favorite video games on PlayStation 4. And that is X-Morph Defense Complete Edition. Simply astounding game. It is a tower defense strategy game. A tower defense strategy shoot 'em up. And this is the special complete edition. This is only available as an import. There is a PAL version for the Switch, but the PS4 version is a superior version. This game runs at 60 frames per second. It does support 2-player split screen, and the Switch version does not support any of that. This is a must pick up. I don't really care for the metal boxing, but I have beaten this game so many times, and I'm always, if you tell me that we want me to cover this game again, I'll gladly cover this game again. I have played it. I love it to death. And I love the graphics. I love the setup. I love the setting and everything like that. This game just means a lot to me. This is easily within my top 10 most favorite games on PlayStation 4. Maybe even my top 10 most favorite games of all time. I've played it so many times, and sometimes I get the craving again to run through the game all over again. I need to get off of it because I'll keep talking about it, and we got more to go through. XCOM 2 collection. It comes with XCOM 2 and XCOM 2, the expansion version, or War of the Chosen. Very good collection here, because with all updates and DLC, other than one, but it was never released on a console, so it's not really the collection's fault. Must pick up. It's a great strategy game. It's a good hardcore fan if you're into some really challenging, very punishing, but very rewarding gameplay. Just pick this up. You'll be very pleasantly surprised in terms of the tacticalness and the resource management and stuff like that. Greatly enjoyed it. Beaten it, and I had a great time. Turn Up Boy Commits Tax Invasion. I have yet to play it. I heard it's really short, but very cute. Again, it's one of those weird indie games. You tell me it's an indie game, and I just see it. It's like, you know what? I'm going to play a Turn Up Boy. This intrigues me so much more than like games like Uncharted. Yes, I'll say that. I would say this, I have yet to play it. I guarantee this game is better than Uncharted. It's better than Last of Us. It's better than, what was another one that could upset people with? It's probably better than Spider-Man. There you go. Turn Up Boy. You can't beat it. I have yet to play it. I don't know. But that's how I am. Tunic, a phenomenal game, but sadly, it's a game that was self-sabotaged. It is a very good game. Very phenomenal. But it's got some things that hold it up to being perfect. Trying to get the true ending is a chore and not really worth your time. As well as it got these little things you can try to do to try to find these fairies. It will ruin your experience. That's why I say it's a phenomenal game, but sadly, it is a victim of self-sabotage. It's a game you should have on your shelf, but just play it. Don't try to 100% complete it. But phenomenal game. I'm glad to have a physical copy of it. Next one is Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, the PS4 version. This was a GameStop exclusive. I'm glad I picked it up because it's become quite significantly rare. This may even be the rarest thing I have on my shelf. I'm not entirely sure. I don't keep up with prices and stuff like that. I don't care about that stuff. But it comes with all the DLC characters and cosmetical outfits on disc, so it's definitely a must pick up if you can find it affordable and stuff like that. It's a very good game. I'm not really into fighting games, so I'm just glad I have that. Next one is 2 Point Hospital Jumbo Edition. I was sitting down playing this for quite a bit, and then it wasn't because of this game, but something finally just made me stop playing games. And I was busy trying to play this to cover it on the channel, and I just put a control. I played it, and then I just got to the point I set the controller down, and I've yet to really picked up the controller since then. I mean, it's a good game, don't get me wrong. It's got all the DLC on the disc. I love trying to solve the hospital. I like building my hospital and stuff like that. That was a lot of fun. It's a must pick up if you like these kinds of games. If you like resource management, taking care of things, and if you want the most complete updated version, complete on disc with all the updates on disc. There might be an update, can't quite remember. I didn't get to that point in my video testings and stuff like that, but I do know it comes with DLC on the disc. So pick up Jumbo Hospital, or 2 Point Hospital. Untitled Goose Game. Again, this was a fun little cozy style game. I had a lot of fun playing this. It's not going to be for everyone, but I just love playing the goose and honking at random people and just causing mayhem. It's just one of those weird little games that I enjoy. Next one is Until Dawn. I'm half and half on this game. This game was enjoyable for what it was. I won't say it was the greatest game I've ever played. I mean, it's probably the best in terms of kind of like that Walking Dead game kind of talk about where you do this basically make choices and click on random stuff. There's not a lot of like combat and gameplay involvement. This is probably the peak of that kind of style of games. It still was enjoyable. I've been wanting to run through it again, but I heard they were actually making a remake of it or some kind of remaster or a sequel. Next one is Warborn Variables Armor Command. It's like a Advanced Wars kind of mech kind of style game where you control mechs and you can actually create your own levels in this game. I haven't been to play it, but it looks very, very intriguing. I love it because it's like a tactical based kind of game. The only thing that's disappointing, it's only 1-player support. This would have been really cool if it's 2-player support or 3 more than that. But overall, I've been wanting to actually check this game out quite a bit. Moving on. They are Billions. This is the Limit Run production version. There is a Japan version which does support English. I remember playing on my PS5 and it had some kind of hiccups. Occasionally the game would crash every time you blow up in the level. It wasn't that bad. But the only biggest problem is in the game is that the game could be a time sink where you could be near the end of the level and a zombie got through your base and there's no saving. So if you lost, you have to restart from all the way up at the beginning of that level. It can be real frustrating in that area. But overall, I really enjoyed the game. It's what game I'm really glad to have. Them Fighting Herds. This is another fighting game. Again, I don't really play too many fighting games, but this one game just intrigued me. I'm not into My Little Pony. I'm not into that. Bronies, I think they're called. But anyway, I saw this and I was like, you know what? It's just weird enough to be on my shelf. So I picked it up. I played a little bit of it. It doesn't actually have that many characters. I think they have a few more DLC. I know this is not the most updated version. I think they had another 1 or 2 more characters they added DLC wise, but I don't know. I just thought it was weird. I think that game was originally supposed to be My Little Pony game, and then they got like copyright striked or something like that, and then they just branched off and started making their own game, which is better. I'm glad that they were able to make their own entire game. Moving on, we have Tetris Effect Connected. I've played a little bit of it. It's very intriguing. I'm not the biggest Tetris fan, but I just saw it, and I was like, you know what? I'll pick it up. It's from Limited Run. I don't know. It's Tetris. It's Tetris. It's got some cool effects. I played a little bit of it. Got some cool effects. Moving on, we have the Torok Collection, which comes with Torok and Torok Seeds of Evil 2. It was a limited run release. I had to pick it up. I actually even had the Switch version of this same collection. There's no way I wasn't going to pick it up. I love the Torok games. I like the second one more than the first one. I've seen a lot of people really say the first one's better than the second one, which is surprising. They have their both elements. I'm not saying one's better than the other, or this one's awful and don't play it. They're both good, but if I had to pick one, I would pick the second game. Maybe because I'm more nostalgic, because I had a friend who had the second one, but he didn't have the first one, and we were always playing the second one. Maybe that's just basically on nostalgia. Alright, we got our last stack here. Next one is Darkwood. Phenomenal. This is my second most favorite survival horror game of all time. I have played this game like 5 times. 3 or 5 times. 4? I don't know. It's getting kind of blurry, but I've played this game multiple times, and I enjoyed it every single time. It's one of the best survival horror games. There is no jump scares in this game. It's all just a very immersive survival experience. It definitely keeps you on edge. It's randomly generated, so you don't have the same levels and stuff. It's got the same kind of set pieces, but where those set pieces are can change. Overall, I am super glad I have this on my shelf. That's a limited run physical copy, and they only printed a few copies of it. And I barely was able to get that copy. Moving on, we got Cat Quest and Cat Quest 2, the Possum Pack. Again, I love anything cats. If you tell me something's got cats in it, I'm going to pick it up. I'm guilty like that. And dogs. I mean, I love this one has dogs in it. I've been wanting to play it. My nieces really enjoyed this game. And they said they really enjoyed playing like the second one with together and everything like that. I've been wanting to play it. And I just picked it up because it had cats. I won't lie. That's the reason I picked it up. Dead or Alive Extreme. Now, I'm not into these kinds of games. I picked it up because it was a collective thing, purposes. This was a FOMO buy. This one, I won't deny that. This is the first release version. They do have a more updated version. Again, I just don't care for these kinds of games. These are just, mate, at this point, I'm going to be putting out, you're going to be playing this, you might as well play a porn game. Go play it. Why? I mean, if they focused more on the volleyball, but I've heard that the first game of this actually focused on the volleyball and the risqueness was on the sides. After that, it started leaving the volleyball behind and more on the risque side of it. And, man, come on. And not to say you can't have this. I'm not saying should be banned or anything like that. Or, man, this is woke, as some people say. No, go ahead and have attractive women and have their body revealing. That's fine with me. I don't care to play this game. I'm not saying this game shouldn't exist and people should be able to get it. I'm not going to really play it. It's just part of my collection. Those are like one of the ones I'll be like, yeah, I have that. But that's just for collective purposes only. Daymare 1998, actually a really, really good game. I've seen it get really cheap at moments. It's a must pick up, in my opinion. The original, if you play this, you're going to be thinking, this feels like Resident Evil 2, and that's because this was meant to be Resident Evil 2. This was meant to be a fan remake of Resident Evil 2 before the Resident Evil 2 remake. And they asked them to stop developing it, and then, which is good. I always prefer when the developers who are doing like remakes or something that's already pre-owned intellectual property be able to get away from that and make their own game. And they did a good job. It's a little wonky, a little clunky here and there, but overall I did enjoy the game, and I've been wanting to run through it again. I do have the sequel to it, and I've been wanting to play that as well. Dawn of Monsters. I believe this is like a beat 'em up-esque kind of game. It's a limited run game again. I just thought it was interesting, so I picked it up. I don't really have much else to say. Moving on, I picked this up for like $5. Cars 3. I heard it's actually really good. I actually mostly picked this up for my nieces because they sometimes will come over and they want to play video games. So I was like, hey, it's got 4-player split screen, and the girls can just sit down and play it and enjoy themselves. So I picked it up. So I played a little bit of it. Seems good. Disappointingly, the game only runs at 30 frames per second. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it's just surprising because the game's not even that graphical. But I'm glad I have it. Moving on, complete edition of The Witcher 3, the PS4 version. Now, I never really covered the PS4 version. I covered the PS5 version. And there are some benefits between both of them. I do believe the PS4 version runs better than the PS5 version, but the PS5 version does have more updates and stuff like that on the disc. Next up, we have The Witch and the 100 Night Revival Edition. I picked this one up just out of random because I remember this came out on PlayStation 3, and I was just like, hey, this is a more updated version of the game. I think it comes with all the expansions and stuff like that, and DLC stuff on the disc. I'm not entirely sure. There is a sequel I wanted to pick up, but I just held off. I do know it's pretty rare and expensive. Disappointing, I should have picked it up back in the day. But overall, I remember thinking it's a very intriguing game. I didn't get too far in the game, and I did enjoy it, but I just don't know. Just something about it was good, but not enough to keep me engaged. Next up is Zombie. It's only available as a PAL import. It's a zombie game. This came out originally on the Wii U. I do know that the Wii U version is the superior version. I don't know if, about update wise, but I think it like looked better graphically, as well as it had the Wii U pad that made it like more unique. Because this was originally designed for the Wii U, because it was called like Zombie U or something like that. It's still cool, and I'm glad it has another release, a wider release on PlayStation 4. And I played quite a bit of it. It's fairly good. It's not the most engaging game, a zombie game, but it does what it does. Next up is Project Xeno Aquilaria Plus. It's kind of weird to see that text way at the bottom like that. There's another limit run game. I don't really know anything about this. I remember playing a little bit of it. It was really odd. Something was weird about it. I don't know. I don't know much about it. I'm pretty sure it's like a roguelike or something like that. I assure you, I did not buy it just for that. No. I can't remember why I bought this one. This doesn't look like something I would have bought personally. Maybe that was a FOMO buy. I'm not sure. Next up is Worms Battleground plus Worms WMD. This just comes with 2 Worm games on one disc. I just thought of a must pick up. Why I picked this one up, there is a Worms WMD like All-Star Pack one that just comes with just Worms WMD, but the DLC isn't on disc. So to me, this is the superior version because it comes with 2 games on one disc. I don't even think Worms Battleground even got its own copy, so this is the only way to get that game. But overall, I'm glad to have more Worm games. I've always been a big fan of Worms games. Okay, moving on. Super Monkey Ball, Banana Mania. I don't know. These are games that kind of intrigued me, where you just roll a ball. When I used to play Dreams, it was like one of those small games that everyone was producing. Those ones I always played, where you just roll this ball and balance it between these beams and try to solve a record time and stuff like that. I don't know. I haven't really sat down and played it, but I'm intrigued. Why not? Moving on, we have We Love Katamari Reroll Royal Rivalry. This is the second one in the Katamari games. Now, sadly, I believe this came out on PS5 in the US, but it did not get a PS4 version. The only way you can get a PS4 version is importing the Asia version. And so I have the first game, the remake, remaster, if you will, on PS4, and I wanted to get again on PS4, so I imported this so I can have the PS4 version of the second game. Another very good game is Yoko's Island Express. This is like a pinball Metroidvania. I love these weird, wonky idea games and stuff. And it's got some good music and soundtrack. It's a very good game. Do not overlook this game. It's one of those, again, it's a weird pinball Metroidvania. It works out well, really well. So check it out. It's a very good game. Moving on. This is one of those weird Chinese buys. I was experimenting, trying it out. I don't actually know how to pronounce the name of this game. It's right. I don't know if you can see it. It's called Zheng Yang Sword, the Great of Firmament. I don't know. I played a little bit of it. It's really weird. Like its controls and its setup and everything like that. I don't know. I don't really know much about it. I picked it up out of randomness. That's one of those weird games I have on my shelf. Moving on, Zone of the Enders, the second runners, Mars. It's a Zone of Enders game. I'm surprised that this only comes with one game, which makes no sense because we had a collection. Goodness. We had a collection that got released on PS3 that came with both games, the first and second one. But here we are. As you can see, this was bought used. Well, this only has one game on the shelf. That's really very frustrating. I would have liked to have the collection. Moving on, we have Star Ocean, the second story R. Have yet to play it. I've heard very good things. I love the graphics and style of it. I know the game was big controversial because it had like a pretty good, it was like update or something like that. But the whole game can be played completely off disc. It's just the update added more languages or something like that. But overall, very interesting game. I'm glad it got like a remake because that's originally first released on PlayStation 1. So I'm really happy about that release. Uncharted Lost Legacy. Again, I'm not really into the Uncharted games. They're just not for me. Not my cup of tea. I have it, and I played it once, and I never picked it back up, and I probably never will. I don't know what else to tell people. Next one is Remembrance Cold Soil. Cold Soul, sorry. This one's like a game that was heavily inspired by Darkest Dungeon. I thought it looked interesting. I don't know if it's as good as Darkest Dungeon, but I just saw it and it's only available in this like Japan version style, which is interesting because this actually has different coloring spine. If you look at it, I don't know if you can see it really well in the video, but you can see it's got in the middle, it's got like a different color blue. I thought it was interesting. I mean, if your OCD would probably kick in if you saw it on your shelf and you saw this one with different blue, and you would think that it's actually like incorrect box, but no, this was a brand new copy and everything like that. I actually spent a pretty penny to get this. It's actually getting kind of rare. Moving up, we have Valkyrie Chronicles, the remastered. This is the last one in my stack. I played this back on PlayStation 3, and I was really happy to pick up this. It's kind of like a turn-based, third-person, kind of tactical-based game. The only thing I didn't like about the game was it's episodic, where you had to like open up this book, pick at that episode, go into that campaign, get out of that, go back to the book, turn the page, pick the next one. I wasn't really into that. That was the only bad thing about the game. But overall, I think the game is a must pick up if you're interested in like third-person, tactical-based kind of games. Overall, this was the last game on this stack here. We have much more to go. This was another 60 plus stack. And as I said, we have 700 plus games. I'm just looking at my game collection right in front of me. We have so many more games to talk about. But I might take a little break here because my mouth is actually getting quite dry. So hopefully you enjoyed this one. This is going to be part 2. Eventually we'll get to the part 3. So thank you all so much for watching. If you haven't checked out the first episode, I'll provide links in the description or at the end of the video. So then thank you all so much for watching this. This is something I've been wanting to do. I will try to go through all my games, my Switch, my PS1, and so on. So I don't want to go on too long. So again, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys next video. Bye-bye.